Welcome back to our fifth wheel tiny home build, where every job somehow turns into a character building exercise. In this episode, we finally get round to finishing the foundation of our future home, and give you the first peek at our one-of-a-kind design. I really enjoyed painting last episode and getting some colour back into our lives. I've been staring at this cold grey steel for too long.
I like it.
And I want to continue, but there's 100 little jobs left to do on this chassis before it's finished. And that's your fault.
Yes, I like to do 80% of the job. So yeah, we've got all these little jobs that we want to finish off because soon we're going to actually start building the habitat. So we had to go backwards to go forwards, and we've stripped everything off the trailer. Basically everything we've done in the last couple of episodes is now being undone so that we can finish the chassis. Hydraulic legs have come off, and I've welded on these upright bits of flat bar perpendicular to these front plates, and that's made it really, really stiff. There's zero flex. Now, I know the trailer with the leg on it is going to be a lot heavier than me, but it's an obvious improvement. We've put these angles in to stiffen this front cross member, and I've capped them off as well. Excuse the welds, I haven't ground them flat yet.
Pete also went around and finally finished welding in these two cross members, the ones that hold on the axles. But we've got a few more cross members to go in. We need one in the centre here, and then we need to figure out something at the back. So we've already prepped this one. This one we actually made a while ago, but it was too long because it was when the chassis was wider. So we cut off the sides, and this one's ready to stick in. We just got to figure out exactly where.
On our rear cross members, the middle triangles are pointing up. On the front one is pointing down. Where did it go wrong? It looks a tad long.
No, it's perfect. It just needs a bit of persuasion.
Perfectly long.
No, turn it that way.
We're going to just smack it in.
Of course.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's perfect.
I told you it was perfect.
Yeah, that's what I knew all along. Clamp it. And then another clamp here.
One at the bottom.
Okay, but it's not holding it in place.
Yes, it is. Do you know how clamps work? No,
Yes,
it's not holding
and it's
it.
not holding it in place. Oh, no, the other direction. Oh, too much. Stop. That's 1717.5. Yes, we're working to 0.5 of a mil with this tape measure, and it's definitely accurate. It is actually a very accurate tape measure. I think they're in classes, aren't they? This is a class, highest
Best.
class. Yeah. You might have to tap the bottom now, I think, because it's just spinning back. It's very, very close.
What is it?
1717.
It's not close enough for me.
Give it a whack.
No, it's just bouncing back. Oh, that moved quite a lot, didn't it? That's all we need, is just some leverage.
Yep. That's it. Bang on.
Tack it.
Tack it.
Is that your body cracking?
Yeah. Is it moving at all?
Yellow. Can you...
I can't push it any harder.
Let's have a look. Got to chase that 0.5 mil.
Bang on. All this time, all the accurate stuff we've done, I've got to shove it with my foot. So if you've been watching for a while, you might have saw the episode where we were talking about how the habitat floor is going to come down into the trailer frame to make underfloor storage tubs. We want to maximize the storage. That's one of the reasons why the trailer is this design, is so we can have loads of storage underneath. We've got about almost a foot of extra storage along the whole length of the trailer, which is really cool. In that episode, I was talking about how we were going to mount the habitat in using these metal plates that would be in the corners of these tubs. It was all a bit much. So instead I thought, well, we could just cross brace the floor of this. So there would be a bit of metal coming across like that, and another one like that. And that would help support the floor. But mostly my dad, has run the numbers on whether or not this trailer actually needs extra support underneath, and it really doesn't. This is pretty much how this section is going to look, and the habitat's going to mount onto it using some other brackets that we'll show you in a minute. But yeah, we're not going to add any extra support underneath to hold it. The habitat, the fiberglass, is going to be built in such a way that it's just going to be strong enough to kind of hang under there. Apart from in this section and most of this section, we're going to support it with some angle going across, and that's to help support the weight from the water tanks.
All right, you better finish welding that cross member in then. Then we can move on to the next fun project.
What is the next one?
I don't know, probably more welding. Gosh, that's square, isn't it?
These are the habitat mounts. They're going to go in the corner of every cross member to chassis rail meeting.
Oh, stiffen it up a little bit too. Not that it really needs it.
No, it's already good and stiff. So yeah, there'll be one there, and then there'll be one there. There'll be one there, another one there, and then we're going to have one more cross member that we're going to build in a bit. That's going to go here, and there'll be another two there like that, and then there'll be one more on the back holding the bumper in as well. So we've got 16 in total. 16 with M12 bolts. It's way overkill, but it's just kind of neat, isn't it?
And then how is the habitat bolting on? We're gonna put.
Yeah.
We're gonna build. We're gonna.
Do you remember the plan?
Yeah, we're gonna build studs into the underside of the habitat.
Threaded
Rod.
Threaded.
Oh, a threaded tube.
Yeah. So
Or bolt upwards.
yeah, and it'll be encapsulated in the fiberglass kind of composite.
It's quite a construction. Maybe CAD Pete should show it.
Let's cut to CAD Pete. Hey, CAD Pete here. So this is a section of the habitat floor, or it would also be what the walls and ceiling is going to look like too. We're making the habitat out of fiberglass composite panels. And basically what that is we've got a bottom or outside skin of fiberglass, followed by a core of 50mm phenolic foam, and then an inside skin of fiberglass. I think the fiberglass skins are going to be anywhere between 2 to 3 mil. It kind of depends. We can add more where we need more protection or more rigidity. So the difficulties in mounting the habitat to the trailer come from the strength of the bond between the foam and the fiberglass, essentially. If you screw into the fiberglass sheet, for example, it's only going to be as strong as that glue bond and really what it's gluing it to. So really the weak point is the foam. In our test before, the lamination fails by just pulling the foam apart, and the glue and the fiberglass is usually the strongest bit. So some solutions to that could look like putting a big old bolt with washers through the habitat floor and just bolting it to the trailer frame mounts. One of the issues with this is that you're going to be just compressing a very small area. I suppose you could put a big washer on to help spread that load, but you've still got a bolt head protruding out the top. You could recess it all in, but then you've still got a bolt head and a thermal bridge, it's called, when you have something that conducts heat like metal traveling from the inside skin to the outside skin. And what will happen is in the floor, you'll have a really cold spot that will probably condensate. The other thing is, I can imagine if we ever have to take the habitat off and put it back on again, which I really hope we don't have to, lining up these holes with bolts and putting them through, I can imagine that being quite a pain. So this is the solution I've come up with. What we'll do is we'll enlarge the hole around where the mounting plates are and then recess a stainless steel plate that has a threaded insert that goes all the way through. So similar to a bolt with a washer on, but kind of the other way around. That means we can also adjust and control the area of how much space we want to spread the load across. And then on top of that, we'll encapsulate it with some more fiberglass and tie it into the foam around it. And then on top of that, we'll lay our fiberglass as well. So that's my idea. I think it's probably the easiest way, because if we do ever take the habitat off and put it back on, then if these holes don't quite line up with the mounting plates, enlarging the mounting plates holes slightly, you know, it's easier to do than trying to force bolts through. So yeah, fully encapsulated. There's no thermal bridge from the inside to the outside. We can recess it as far as we need to. And we can also, if we need to support the floor any more, we can add box section in between and encapsulate it in the laminate anywhere we want, actually. So aluminium or fiberglass based box sections like this can be used to stiffen and strengthen any area of the habitat around windows or doors or slide outs, or around major mounting points as well. While I've got you here, I thought it'd be a good idea to just show you some other bits on the trailer. So you've seen our tubs in place, but I wanted to just show you this at the back. So this is a bit of a funky shape, and I didn't really think it would be useful to access from the inside. So instead, I think it would be good to have a bit of a lightweight but still big slide out drawer that matches the shape and the contours of the trailer. I don't know, I just think it's a useful use of the space there. Also, I just wanted to show you, give you a bit of a better idea of what the floor is actually going to look like in the habitat. So that's kind of how wide it's going to be, if I mirror it onto the other side as well. So the tubs are going to be covered by hatches or some sort of way of accessing them. I don't know if the hatches will be the full size or what, but we'll come up with some sort of efficient way, I'm sure, of managing this storage space. And along the outside, we'll also have more storage. And we could make it so that this outside storage is accessible from the inside as well if we want to. And in the back here, we will have hatches so we can still access and maintain our hydraulic hoses, because our hydraulic legs go in here as well, so there'll be cutouts for those. And it'll probably be partitioned off as well, but everything should still be accessible. And all of this is all going to be made out of our fiberglass composite panels, reinforcing them whenever we need to. So it should be super light and super strong. But yeah, that's enough from me. I'll speak to you later. I like that CAD Pete guy.
Yeah, he's nice. I
Nice.
hope we get to meet him in person
Yeah.
one day.
Okay, should we weld these in?
Oh no, you're going to have to grind off my paint.
Over there? Yeah, sorry. Only a little bit.
Oh,
I'm just using this to make sure this sits flush with
yeah,
the
that's a good
top.
idea.
Like that one from you?
From me?
Yeah. Okay, easy. More welding. That was so long. Oh, I hate grinding down welds. It just takes such a long time. It's so messy. But
That's flush.
it looks real good. Real good. So hopefully now it makes sense how it's going to be mounted on and stuff.
You're very mucky.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I look fine though, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I look good.
very handsome.
Oh, okay, good. Huh?
Nothing.
Oh, our metal's arrived.
Bit of angle, bit of box section.
Yeah.
Hello. I'll take it.
Are you going to take it?
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, God, that was close. Oh, it's quite floppy, isn't it?
Yeah, this might probably do better bit like the way I carry it the way I got it. Isn't it?
Okay.
I'm helping.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks very much.
Have a good one.
See ya.
A nice geezer. That was good timing because we needed that steel to make the supports for the underside of certain parts of the habitat. So in certain areas where there's going to be heavy things like batteries and water tanks, we want extra support under those tubs that I was talking about earlier. And it would look something like this.
It's done.
I did it. So we just used a bunch of angle to keep it as lightweight but still pretty stiff as we can. And yeah, we've got some this way and some this way. So it feels pretty strong. I know water tanks are going to weigh more than me, but water tanks also spread out the weight across a big area. So,
And there's still support in the tubs.
oh yeah, we're still going to support the composite panels of the tubs, but more on that.
It's going to be
another
super
time.
strong.
So we laid it out like this because somewhere around here there's going to be our braking system, and it's a big box full of components. So I thought having these running that way would just give it a bit more support and give us some options essentially. So I haven't really talked about the braking system that much because we've been waiting on other things in order to get it first. It's essentially an electronic braking system that still lets you use off-the-shelf trailer brakes and hubs and axles and stuff. Has an electronic signal that comes from the brake light signal. And then in the box is a gyroscope and load sensors for the axles, so it knows how fast it's going and it can sense when it's slowing down. And then inside that box is some like strong actuators, and they pull the cables that are connected to the drum brakes on our axles. So it means all the brakes and the hubs and all that stuff is off the shelf, easy to come by parts, but it's just this very expensive, very fancy box that connects to the tow vehicle. I think as well it has to be in front of the wheels, but again I'm not sure.
We've calculated that we can fit about 250 litres of tank in here, because we can't come past the suspension. We'll need to kind of be in this area, and it's about 250 litres. And we haven't decided if we're going to sink water tanks into it that we can remove and change or clean, or if we just build the water tank into the subframe of the habitat, and then it'll become like a stiffening member. But what do you think? Is 250 litres enough for fresh water, grey water? Let us know if we need to go bigger.
I think 200 litres seems like a lot, especially in like the caravan world. I think that sounds like a lot because I know 250 litres of water weighs 250 kilos, but you don't always have to drive around with it full. That's the thing. So it's better to have the option for too much and not fill it up, because there's not really anything else we can fit in this space that would benefit from the weight support from the axles. So this is really prime estate for water tanks and heavy storage. And yeah, we don't want to go too far this way because we always want to have access to the axles and the suspension. So it just seems like a good idea to have water tanks there. I think 250 litres is a good goal to have.
And that's just one tank. So we would probably have a similar size one.
Some grey
bit
ones
further up.
somewhere else.
Yeah, I think it could all be split up.
Yeah, I haven't quite figured out what we're going to do for the grey water tanks because I've got some really fun water recycling ideas. We'll come to that another day.
Peter, wake up, Peter.
Oh, I had the most amazing dream. I dreamt we had a robotic mower and I never had to mow the garden ever again.
It wasn't a dream. We're back with the Lima One Plus, the satellite-guided AI vision-powered mower that can conquer any garden. Want a beautiful-looking lawn without the effort? The Limo has got your back. Watch as the cyclone airflow system sucks up the grass into its dual rotary blades, cutting at 6,000 RPM and 16 inches wide. The grass won't know what hit them. Combining real-time satellite positioning with AI vision, no grass is left uncut as it maps out and mows up to 15 acres. Obstacles? Please. Have you seen the tracks? It's a tank! Too easy. Too easy. Too easy! With the automatic return to dock, it recharges itself, letting it mow up to 1.73 acres a day. The 3-hour battery and 2-hour fast charger lets it do its thing so you can do yours. The Limo One Plus. It just keeps mowing and 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 mowing.
So the next thing to do is to put in our final cross member. It's going to go somewhere here. I've already cut out all the metal that we need for it. It's only going to be a small lightweight one because it's really just to keep the chassis parallel back here, because all the forces, the twisting forces, are all kind of that like forwards of the wheels. So this is just to stiffen up this area. And again, if it's say here, we'll have another big tub under what will be the living room for storage and stuff. I really like the idea of sinking in a hot tub.
That's not going to
there.
work.
Can you imagine that? We got 250 litres of water. Is that enough for a bath? I don't know if it is. Oh, it's been ages since we built a cross member. I don't miss it. This seems too short, but I think it's just the chassis rails have warped inwards.
You have to use your leg power.
I use my butt power. Cool, that's really good.
Push your leg on here.
I'm not long enough.
Oh, please don't get pinched.
There you go.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Ow.
I can't wait to paint this whole thing. It's going to look really good. Well, that's because we have to clean it all up. We've got to take all the mill scale off. Pete wants to get it ice blasted.
Yeah. I think that would be really good. Pay someone else to come in and clean the whole trailer.
Yeah. How much is that going to cost?
I don't know. I'm struggling to get prices. If anyone knows a good
ice blasting
place in Hampshire, that would be, let us know. You can buy a machine from China for quite cheap. Well, I say quite cheap. It's like £2,000 or £3,000.
That's a lot for just one-time use, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but you never know. That's £960. That's also £960. Oh, first try.
Going good.
Yeah. Chonk.
You're sweeping, and your face is a mess. So that must mean you're done.
I am. We've finished putting in the crossmember and our rear habitat mounts. And we've just got one last bit to put in, and it's going to be a bit that goes in there just to connect the rear up. And it will also cap these end bits off and act as somewhere where we can hang like a good chunky rear bumper. We were talking about this earlier. We don't really want the habitat to be the first thing that gets hit if we get rear-ended or something, or if I back into something. We want like a chunky bumper.
I like this look.
Like this?
Yeah. It's the Dick Van Dyke look.
Oh.
Step in time.
Oh, right. It's starting to look really cool, isn't it? The trailer's like really coming together.
Yeah, there's really not much more to do.
There's really not.
Let's push through. With excitement.
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm a bit fed up of welding and grinding and sweeping in that order over and over again. But the trailer chassis is entirely done. It looks so cool. I'm really, really happy with it. We've got all of the 16 Habitat mounts welded in place. The final cross members welded in place. We put this little bit of box section at the back just to cap the chassis rails and, cap the end of the trailer off as well. And it looks really cool. So that's going to also pick up something to mount the proper bumper on. Not quite sure yet. The other little job that we had to do was these, I'll use my pointing stick, these plates underneath here. So back, I don't know how many months ago it was, but when we put this departure angle on, we ended up with a big hole here, just because we cut it at an angle. So we've put a big bit of 6mm plate on both sides there. And that's actually going to be quite useful, I think, because that bit there is probably the first bit that will hit the floor when we go up hills, like if we ever bottom the trailer out. So we've got a nice big chunky bit there. But a good idea that one of you guys recommended was to put these, they're like roller wheels that you put on boat trailers and stuff. And I think they have them on the back of proper lorry trailers. And you would put one here and one on the other side. And then instead of the trailer hitting and then dragging, it just rolls on some heavy duty rollers. You guys are full of good ideas and advice. Speaking of, actually, you may have noticed that the box with the power station and all that stuff in is no longer attached. In fact, we actually undid everything that we did last episode.
Not everything.
Most of it.
We just disconnected it.
Yeah. So Hayley's given it a different coat of paint. The outside is blue. But the thing that you guys pointed out that was really helpful is that the wire gauge was too small. And I saw that a lot in the comments. And I was like, well, how can that be? Because I bought the gauge that the manual said to get for the batteries. I didn't realize they actually sent the wrong size. And I just didn't notice. So thank you for pointing that out, because the wire was undersized by like half. So I appreciate you guys looking out for us. Hey, it's Prize Giveaway Pete here. Did you know that we have a website with our merch and what we've been up to, and each video has its very own blog? We've also launched a new raffle website where you can be in with a chance of winning some really cool stuff, like the Limo robotic lawnmower that was featured in the last 2 episodes. You can win this £2,500 mower for just £5. Or this really cool portable water filtration system. And we're going to be adding loads more stuff over time. So help us on our goal to becoming ad-free and support the channel by checking out raffle.roadtooffgrid.com. Thank you so much. There's all the bits out. And the empty cupboard.
There was just a bunch of stuff that we wanted to add, and that involved taking some of the paint off so that we could re-weld things. We welded on some little points for cable ties so we can keep the cables a bit tidier, and up the top as well, so the ones that were hanging down we can kind of pin up out the way. Then we mounted this one on the back. That's for the fuse, because we didn't want the fuse floating. And yeah, I just kind of knocked off all the orange, and I'll just go back over it with orange. But I prefer the blue on the front and then the orange popping through, so yeah, it's all kind of changed, but it's going to be better.
It'll go back in faster than the first time.
Yeah, everything's all ready to go. A lot of you have talked about how it's going to get like quite wet, or there's going to be splash up from Moose's tyres that's going to come through these holes. But what we're actually going to do is build a big fiberglass shroud as part of the habitat. So the habitat will come to here, but then there's also going to be a big shroud that kind of comes on and attaches here as well. So it's going to be very much enclosed. Should we ask CAD Pete if he can just show what I mean?
I don't know, we have used him once already this episode, he's quite busy.
Come on, CAD Pete.
Okay, fine. So here's our neck and the storage box that's on the front. So what Hayley meant by shroud is essentially something that is going to wrap around the neck section and the storage box. So that's half of it. and it'll have a door in like this. So if I put the other half on, the front of it will look something like that. Not quite figured it out, but that's the plan. So you can see it's all totally encapsulated. There'll be doors that can open, so you can still access all the stuff inside. But yeah, there's no danger of water getting in, splashing up underneath, that kind of stuff. There'll be seals in the door and stuff to prevent water from getting in. And this shroud is going to attach to the habitat. So there'll probably be some ribs in here for mounting, and might even mount it to the neck as well. But that way we can separate it from the habitat, take the habitat off if we ever want to. The top will be closed off somehow as well, so you know, water and stuff can't get in there. But the habitat is going to come up and over the neck, because above here is where the bedroom's going to be. So not quite sure how it's all going to tie in, but it will. And yeah, it's going to be nice and weatherproof. Okay, back to you. Thanks, CAD Pete. The other thing that was brought up a lot was that 12-volt systems aren't as good, and the battery's not really very big, and we haven't got any solar and stuff. But just to kind of explain, this isn't the final power station of the trailer. What this originally started off as was a 12-volt system to power the hydraulics and the air system. And I was like, well, while we're at it, let's just chuck an inverter in. And we've got an auxiliary secondary system just for emergency, or just an outdoor socket, that kind of stuff. So yeah, this is just really to power trailer related stuff with the option to feed it into the habitat if we ever want to. The actual habitat system, you guys aren't ready for it. It's going to be nuts. I haven't figured it all out yet, but yeah, it's not going to be 12 volts, probably going to be like 48 volts. And there's going to be a ton of solar. There's going to be all kinds of crazy stuff. I'm really looking forward to sorting all that out. But yeah, this is just, I thought I may as well put an inverter in because there's batteries. So next up, we're going to be finally finishing the suspension and running all the air lines and the pneumatic system into the cupboard at the front. So the whole trailer is going to be off of axle stands for the first time, which is really cool. But that'll have to wait till next time. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget the raffle is still live. The tickets are limited and they're selling pretty quick. Thank you so much for everyone that's got involved. We really, really appreciate it. So yeah, we'll see you in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.